Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I'm going to be working on a train simulator route today from one of the official scenarios. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try this first scenario, the light engine run part 1, from the Alaska route. So as you can see here, it says this morning we're assigned to take 2 locos to Whittier and along the way pick up a recently repaired freight car. Not a bad assignment on a lovely day. However, we've been asked to be tour guides for a lower 48 railroad executive riding with us in the cab. In this part, our journey will go as far as the resort community of Girdwood. You will start with 1,000 points and may receive deductions based on your driving skills. Alright, so same information that we had before, other than we'll let Conductor Wayne do the talking. Close this window to continue. Alright, so the Anchorage track. Conductor Wayne, to our special guest. Good morning, sir. Take the jump seat and we'll be underway, departing at 6:45. Alright, so go ahead and do that. Get my light on. So I've never done this route at all. I have no idea what to expect. But you can see we're on the Anchorage track. We've got 12 stops, basically just a bunch of go vias, other than stop at the siding. Okay, 6:45, let's roll. So there we go. Now again, it's just us in the locomotive, so it picks up speed very quickly. So I just need to be careful here. It's like interesting, there's people walking. I don't know that I've ever, I guess I've seen them on like platforms and so forth, never mind. Although, are they walking? Yeah, I guess they are walking. I'm like, or are they standing there? But no, I guess they do walk sometimes. So I'm thinking, given that this was a pretty easy scenario, that unless we have some grade, which right now we're at 0.0, am I supposed to wait there? I just realized I probably ran through a signal, but I guess we'll find out. And that may be because that other train was not through yet, but guessing we're all right here. So I'll just need to be careful in the future. But we'll speed up a bit, but I'm also thinking what I was going to say is that it's probably going to be pretty flat, pretty simple. Obviously we've got another locomotive behind us, I'm sure. So there you go, you can kind of see what we've got. Hop back in. But we're able to go 30. Not quite sure how far we're going. I don't know anything about Alaska or this route or anything like that, so I don't know how far Girdwood is. Obviously we're going via South Anchorage Junction main line, I think is what that says. But yeah, what I don't know is then do we get to go any faster than this or not? But definitely what you'd expect being up north, just a lot of, or mainly, like conifers, pine trees, things like that. But this scenario was supposed to be about 80 minutes, so this will be one of the longer runs I've got. Haven't done one this long in quite some time. Just, again, the speeding is right now going to be my biggest challenge because it speeds up very, very quickly. Alright, downtown Anchorage is located on higher ground to our left. It's Alaska's largest city, with a population of just over 300,000. The water off to our right is Cook Inlet, named after Captain James Cook, who explored this area in 1778, looking for the Northwest Passage. So I guess we'll kind of take a look at stuff. So there we go. There's the inlet. And I don't see Anchorage yet, but maybe we went by. Alright. So let me slow. Whoops. That's not what I meant to do. Just gotta go. Oh boy. Keep hitting the wrong key. Alright. So I'm assuming this grade is a climb. So, sweeping turn to the left here, but instead of going 13, I'm going 25, because as far as the percent on the throttle, because we need a little bit extra oomph to get up there. Let's see, if I do 13, will it won't slow down as fast, but it still slows down, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge here. That's probably going to be the biggest thing, is just the distractions of what they're going to be able to tell us. So again, we'll just take a quick peek. There's this town out there, I think. Just want to see myself, but obviously give you a view as well, so that it's not just all in cab, because I'm sure there's probably some nice scenery around here. Going under an overpass here. Go back down to 13 so that we're not going too fast. A little bit over a mile, but these are all, again, just via points, so not expecting that I'm going to need to do much, but there may be a signal we need to stop at. We did have the yellow blinking signal and so forth when we got into this block, so it's possible we're going to have to do something at some point to let another train by. Who knows? One thing at a time. How about that? Whoops. Didn't want to do that because that's going to fall back pretty fast. And 300,000. You know, it's big for Alaska. Obviously, it said it was its largest city, but down in the lower 48, as they're obviously calling it. Oh, now we're down to 0 here, so that was a quick transition. So I do want to be careful. Well, now it looks like, now I'm at 13, but it's not speeding up that much. So we've got another signal coming up. We'll just obviously want to take a look at that, and that's a lot of times the challenge with any new line is the signaling and so forth, but I'm hoping, since this is in the US, it's going to be pretty straightforward. It's hard to tell. Is it red? Appears to be, so I guess I So now the question is it red on the line there? Oh boy. Like it's not clear to me. Because maybe it's just the one side. I mean, we have one green, so I assume we're switched to the track that's green. Guess we'll find out. So, yeah, as I thought, it would take us over to this side. Alright, so now we gotta go almost 5 miles. Alright, the tracks to our right are a branch line to the Anchorage Airport. There is no regular service, but some of the cruise lines will run trains out to the airport to serve their tourists. Maybe in the future, ARR will run a shuttle. Alright, so that's the line coming in from the right. So obviously the airport, I assume, is out in that direction as well, somewhere. Yeah, big challenge is obviously we were climbing, we could just as easily be going back down, so I just want to keep an eye on the speed. But obviously we're not going above 30 at this point. And that just may be the normal thing here. Now let's see, it's 0.5. So we're getting a bit of a grade, but I think it's climbing. Because otherwise I assume we would have kind of gotten to the point where we would have started to accelerate, if not. That's why I was trying to be careful to stop and see how the train's reacting. Alright, so now the top signal is green. I'm guessing there's some switch that would take me over there, which is what is showing as red, so that I can't go the other way. Obviously that would likely be because there's a train sitting there. So, yeah, there's a switch the other way there, but I'm assuming we're going to hit one shortly that is in our direction. He is moving. I wasn't able to tell entirely. A lot of tanker cars. Paying attention to those, almost rolled right on by. A bit of a factory. Good line of trucks lined up there. Alright, train next to us is ending. Alright, looks like then we'll be able to go 45. So that'll move us along a little quicker. Now, do we have any times? No. We just have to get there, it looks like. But half a mile, maybe we'll get back onto a single line instead of 2 tracks. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We'll continue on however we have it set up. And either way, the 80-minute estimate for the scenario is likely, or certainly taking into account how fast we can move along. So all of this 30-mile-an-hour traversal would be included in that. Alright, half a percent again. We're still slowing down, so it would seem that means we're once again climbing. Coming up on the 45. Likely at that sign there. Not sure that I'll be able to stay on the throttle. Just to be safe, we'll back off a bit. Alright, there we go. Now we can move along a little quicker. Still got 2 tracks. So, engine making a little bit of a different sound now that we're really throwing the throttle at it. Alright. Not a huge grade, but the 0.3 is still slowing me down pretty well. About 3/4 of a mile. Alright, I'm guessing again, tops are green, bottoms are red because I can't switch. Just wish the signals were easier to see from far away. Alright, we're back up to 0.5% grade. Yeah, it's green on top for sure. This looks like we have 2 signals there, so yeah, it looks like we're getting maybe a siding track up there. Obviously those 2 are both red because we're not heading in that direction. But yeah, a little bit of a spur. That's really short, so it's just kind of a way to, I guess, get the trains to come in and come merge with the line and get on the main line. So yeah, I'm not sure what MP 106, that might just be their routes. It might stand for multi-purpose. I know nothing. But we're still climbing. The conductor hasn't told us anything about a different town. I can't imagine this is still Anchorage, but I suppose it could be. We've only gone about 7 or 8 miles. I can't imagine towns are every 5 or 6 miles in Alaska. I would imagine there'd be more of a separation than that. Alright, so our next junction, a little bit over 1/2 mile. Looks like turn again, Main. So yeah, that's the question. Are we going to hit some of these junction points a little quicker than we have been? Like, is our next check-in going to be that one 1/2 mile away? That would seem really unlikely or unnecessary at a minimum. Alright, we're still at 0.5% grade. See what it tells us next. Alright. Alright. Dispatcher out. So, if you didn't hear... Oh, now it says dispatcher out. If you didn't hear that, hopefully you were able to read it. I wasn't reading it because normally it doesn't actually do that, but that was nice. It was different. Definitely adds more realism to it. Alright, so here we go. As we travel south, you'll notice that several residences have light aircraft. Air is still a necessity for getting to many locations in this state. This is the end of the CTC signaled control system. Beyond this point, Alaska Rail is controlled by DTC, Direct Traffic Control, granted by radio from a dispatcher located back in Anchorage. and I was reading too slow, so I don't get the rest, but hopefully it's not something I need to understand. I'm assuming it's for our passenger. Doesn't look like we have the warning thing that sometimes you have to hit the Q key for, or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure Rainbow was the one that might be where I need to get that freight car. Alright, we're at 1%, although I think, yeah, this is 1% down. So let me just make sure I know where the brake is. Otherwise, wow. Let's see. Alright, 34, we're good. Let's see. Alright, we'll release it, let ourselves go down and speed up a bit. So around 25% seems to be the sweet spot. But now we're finally accelerating again. We're coming up here on MP 104, as it said. So just being careful on the run. Okay, look off to the right. It must be low tide. Those mud flats will be covered with water when the tide comes in. Avoid taking a stroll out there. That mud can act just like quicksand. Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Alright. Just still be careful. We're not speeding up as much, but that could change at any point. So now we've got about 2.5 miles to go via Potter Main Line north. Obviously going at 45 is moving us along a bit quicker. Now it's 1.2, so I'm going to go up a bit. Just make sure that I'm not... no runaway train. We don't want that. I'm assuming this line probably isn't a problem until you're loaded. And at this point, I mean, obviously we've been quite flat. So it's certainly not bad the way we're going. Looks like we're going about even with traffic, so the roadway must be 40, 45 on the speed limit there. So we are catching that car a bit as we're... well, now we're not accelerating. Okay, now we're on level ground, or close to it again. So we'll go ahead and put some throttle into it. Oh, I was going to say it almost looked like trees across, but that's just shadows. At 7 a.m. we've got a little bit of that sunrise, but up here in Alaska, days are pretty short sometimes. The sun is at a very different location than, again, down in the lower 48, so... but this line obviously just goes along the coast here. So I'm thinking just past that turn is about when we're going to be at the next junction point. It might be there a little bit before, we'll see. But I'm almost wondering if we've got a mainline connection, if again we'll get something deviating out. Another track or a spur going out somewhere. But yeah, pretty uneventful thus far. Ride down the rails, which is good. Yeah, so here we go. We'll be going around the turn for a bit before we even hit that next location. So yeah, we'll be straightened out before we do that. But it looks like some signage. Not sure, end something or other. Parking area on the left, just off the Seward Highway, is the headquarters for the Chugach State Park, the third largest state park in the U.S. It's not for your picnic. You'll be doing rugged hiking and climbing. Alright. A lot of natural beauty up here. Definitely very, very nice. Train Simulator obviously isn't that focused on that kind of stuff. It's more about the trains and the lines and so forth, but I'm sure we're getting a little bit of a representation of what it would be like. It seems their lines are pretty accurate, especially the official ones. I'm assuming we're just going to kind of go around along the shoreline, so maybe a couple. It looks like a pretty sharp turn up there, but not seeing any change in speed required. So we'll just let it do its thing. Looks like we're going to get a little closer to the road, maybe? Or I've just got vehicles I can more clearly see, but now I think we're getting a little bit closer there. But yeah, enough of a turn that we're getting a little bit of the squeal, the steel on steel. Alright, now we'll go back the other way. 0% grade, just took a quick peek at that. But this is a long stretch, that's for sure. Alright, so I'm going to go, alright, via Rainbow Pass, and then I'm going to stop at Rainbow Pass South. Alright, let me center. Alright, so that's the way we've gone. That helps, so we're headed south. Alright. So yeah, just not a lot to talk about or describe, so I'm just hoping you're enjoying the piece and the ride, which hopefully our friend in the back is as well. Wayne's keeping them informed a little bit, but I'm hoping they're just kind of looking out the window, enjoying the scenery passing by. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of adjustment to the throttle to just kind of avoid going too slow, but obviously also not to suddenly go far too fast. Alright, let me back off again, because at any point the grade could change and suddenly start pulling me down a bit. Looks like a quick turn again. I think just the turn itself had enough friction that it worked off a lot of speed pretty quickly. this is obviously, you know, a long stretch now here without any kind of civilization. Obviously, as I said, we're kind of going by the state park there. Alright, so it's not really showing us much. I don't want to zoom out too much. Get too confused or something, but let's see. Alright. So, back this off again. Make another left turn. It's like just kind of a little bit of a river valley here. But down to 2 miles till MP 95. These engines are quiet, I will say that. There's not as much noise as I'm used to in some of the other engines I've used in other lines and other scenarios. So that's definitely pleasant that way. Thinking we might, I don't know that we'll get all the way around and go back to the left around that bend that we really can't see. That might be too far. Guess we'll find out. I don't know though, we've only gone a 1/4 mile since I said that. It seems like we're going downhill or something, but the grade is showing us at 0. So yeah, I think we're clearly gonna go around here. Although this may just be, yeah, a little bit of an edge, and then we'll swing back around, so might be a little too far. Alright, getting a little quick again. But no changes in speed or anything like that. We can now see MP 95 on our little screen down below. So getting close enough. So head around here. But yeah, this is the bend I was talking about. So I've got a 1/2 mile before the junction. So we will do a little bit of seeing around the bend here. And then we'll see how far we still need to go. Because I think the next one gets us to Rainbow Junction there. Alright, looks like we're going to have to slow down to 35 in about a mile. But in the interim, I'm going to keep moving along. Alright, the land across the water is the Kenai Peninsula. We will be joining the peninsula about 30 miles on our way to Seward. Alright, so we're slowing to check the switch. Alright, to hold on the rainbow siding to allow a northbound train to pass. So, just gonna keep letting the speed slough off here because we can only go 35 there anyway. I'm assuming they're gonna switch us onto that siding, so I would think we don't need to do anything. Alright, so we're within the acceptable speed. You can see that on the gauge up to the left of the window too. It's nice that that works. Okay, and it looks like we need to go 15. Those should just be speed signs over there. So, not tall enough to be signals, but obviously we're going to want to look out for those. So there we go, 35. But we need to be going 15 because we're obviously going to get shunted over to the siding. But we've got about half a mile for that. And at this speed, and with no load, we shouldn't really have to hit the brakes too early. Should be able to react to that pretty quickly. Looks like we've got some overhead street lights or something. Yeah, there's not a lot going on here, wherever we're going, that's for sure. Yeah, it looks like a pull-out with some lights there. So, yeah, just being extra careful. Can't really see around that turn clearly. The other problem is I can't see where the signal is, so alright, let me slow down some here because I don't know that I'm going to get down to 15 otherwise. Why can I not see the signal? I don't like this. That's a bit of a tight turn. Yeah, now we're going to be just 1/10 of a mile away here. So just need to keep an eye out for that. Alright, what am I seeing here? I assume they're just going to move us onto the siding, and then we just need to watch the other signal to let the train go by. Alright, looks like it's switched, unless I'm seeing it wrong here. There we go. Go a little quicker now. Alright, so then we need to stop. Okay, Anchorage dispatcher calling Coastal Classic South. Hold at Rainbow Siding for the arrival of Whittier. Container service northbound, due past at 7:24. Alright, so we're going to need to stop in that location there. And it looks like we're going to need to sit here for probably 5 minutes at least. Let me move up a bit, because otherwise I think I'm going to be too early, and I don't know that the scenario will give me credit if I don't stop in the right location. Obviously I don't want to go too far, so I'll be careful with that. So now we'll apply the brake and we'll hold and just make sure that we're locked and in good shape. So let's take a look at what we got. So that's what we've been traveling down and next to over there. Definitely a very nice view. Not quite sure. I'm assuming we can't go yet because it was talking to hold, but I'm surprised that has gone away. Because otherwise I think we're going to get in trouble if we... Yeah, here it comes, I think. coming around the turn. There it is. Because obviously if we pulled ahead, even though it didn't tell us specifically to not do that. So let's see. Okay, so we're there. Here it comes. But yeah, we've got like a 10-mile run. And maybe then some. Looks like a pretty short train here, so wave at him, say hello. Our passenger's surely excited, I'm thinking. He seems to be slowing down. Alright, southbound light, you are authorized to proceed. 5 blocks. Falls to Whiskey. At Whiskey, move out of the siding and hold at Girdwood. And hopefully you can hear him. And then he'll say, dispatcher out. So there you go. Alright, so we will move. Trying to be careful since we can only go 15. And then we should be able to go 45 pretty soon. 35. 45. There we go. Alright. So let's give this a little bit of speed. But yeah, this is nice quiet engine. Very quiet locomotive. I was gonna say, I don't think these are electric, but they're just super efficient diesels or something, I would guess. But it's impressive. Normally in these scenarios, I'm always worried it's too loud, that she won't be able to hear me over the engine, but I mean, not that I'm saying that much this time. Like I said, it's just a lot of water and trees. But now we've got 8.5 miles to go to MP 84. I don't know why I was going to say 44. But according to this, that'll take us about 20 minutes. So I'm not sure if that's because we're going to end up being told to slow down somewhere, because that seems a long time at 40 miles an hour to go 10. That should be closer to 15 minutes, so I'm thinking there's something going on that's going to cause us to adjust our speed as we get closer to Girdwood. Alright. But yeah, just to follow the shore here, lots of meandering. Which is nice. It gives us a change of view, doesn't let us see too far ahead. We'll see if I do 13, like we're still speeding up, but it's not as fast, so then I can kind of leave the throttle on low for a little while, for a longer while, and then finally throttle back to 0 and coast. But it's less fast, slow, or faster. I'm certainly not going fast. Alright. So, moving through the valley. Now this is kind of a long, although I think we've got one turn that we can clearly see, but I think there's another little loop like this before the far end of the foothill that we're seeing. Thinking here in Alaska these would certainly be foothills, given that we've got Denali here in the state and so forth. It used to be Mount McKinley, I believe, but it got renamed to, I think, a native tribe name. I know I read somewhere what it means, but didn't look it up. Kind of a spur-of-the-moment drive on this scenario. And it's not as if we're headed there and we need to know anything specific about it. And we've got Conductor Wayne, so maybe if we get nearby, he'll fill us in. Alright. So yeah, it's hard to guess exactly where we're headed or where we might go in between. I don't think we've really gone in between any of the larger hills. That pretty much is just the shoreline here that we're following along. But at least we don't have as many of those mud flats that we did in that one area. So no quicksand here. And I would think that quicksand would work just as well on a big, heavy locomotive, maybe even more so because of the weight. So I think it's definitely important that engineers drive safely through here. Last place you want a derailment, close to the water. All kinds of things that could get really destroyed or ruined with poor driving, so we need to take our job seriously through here. And especially, I mean, we've got this executive on board. I don't think we'd make it too far if he had a rough ride. Alright, I saw that sign, it got me a little worried. I'm like, there's nothing about slowing anything down, so, but yeah. Don't know if it's a siding or just two lines for a while. But we'll go ahead and speed up a bit more because we've got over three quarters of a mile until we are having to slow down to 30. But that answers my question that yes, we are not able to go 45 the whole way. But we are going to go 45 for a little bit of the way till I can't. That was a little bumpy. Not sure if you felt it, but I certainly saw it. Alright. So, not too far, but I'm thinking I can go a lot closer than this before I really need to worry about it. About a quarter mile. That'll be my concern. And there we are. And we're good. Alright. So we'll be at 30 up at the signpost there. So we are well within limits, but down to a single track. Might not be a lot of clearance here on the shore, so they just kind of give us enough room to pass every once in a while so the trains can go in both directions on the line. But just like we had to wait for the container to go by, there's a possibility at some point something will wait for us to go by, but I would think we probably get that everything else has the right of way over us, because we're not hauling anything, we're not making any money for the line, where obviously the other trains that have some cargo are making some money for the railroad. Alright, so we are still flat, but at this point now going 30. 15 minutes to go 4 miles. Still seems long, but we'll see what happens. Again, we might be slowing down again to 15 or something with a mile to go or something like that. We'll see. But just trying to really pay attention to the speed. It would be really a shame I made it this far without any kind of deduction. It would really be a shame to ruin it now, that's for sure. But we're down to 3.5 miles. It's like a little bit. I don't know again if it's a climb or a descent. Hard to tell. Seems like a descent, just from what I'm seeing visually out the window, but on the road map or whatever you want to call it down below, it's really hard to tell if we're going up or down. At this point, we're not doing either. We're back to a 0.0. And the thing I don't know is after MP84, do we have another good long stretch still? We may. But just following this river along the way. I assume it's a river. I guess it said it was the inlet, Cook Inlet, so. A little bit of a bridge, so maybe there's another river or something coming in here. Yep. So, got a little bit of a river there. Just trying to do my looking outside the cab. Keep myself forward facing here in the cab. Not move around much. I'm kind of bad at that with some scenarios I've done in the past, trying to definitely just allow folks to enjoy what it would be like, just, you know, being the engineer and driving the train. Now, doesn't mean the engineer doesn't turn his head, but it's just hard to kind of get it back in the right place where it started. Alright, so we're going to slow to 25, so that is part of our timing to get in here, so maybe we're getting close to somewhere, or maybe it gets a lot more treacherous. We certainly have a drop off into the inlet very close to the roadbed here. But try to go a little bit quicker because we've still got over a third of a mile. Alright, so it's 25 for a bit, and then we go back up to 30. So it's just kind of getting through this segment here. I probably can just let the speed bleed off and get there. Feels like we're going uphill, but the grade says nothing. Alright, we're at speed. Still got a ways to go. I'm thinking it's those yellow signs up there. Yep, they are coming right up. We're gonna have trees on the, no, maybe not. I thought we were gonna have trees on the right side for, I think, the first time ever, but no, I thought we were going between some trees, but we are not. But yeah, this is a pretty sharp curve, so I get the 25. Definitely, probably not very fun to go around that. We did have some trees to the right I just saw, so. Alright. So, cycling back to the left here. See how things pan out. A little bit over or under half a mile now. So maybe before the next turn. Maybe not. Time is dropping down, which is good. Oh, now it's going back up. I'm like, will we get below 742? But it doesn't look like it. I was going to say, I think I'm still going to be speeding up too fast here. So we'll back off at least one more time. And I think, there we go, coming up a little bit further. So I should be able to stay on the throttle at this point. I don't want to lose points. There we go. Alright. Because that little bit for the few seconds isn't really going to matter much. Alright. We're speeding us up quite a bit. So we've got less than a mile now. Well, until whatever is next. And then it's just the stretch from here to Girdwood, wherever that is. I'm assuming we've got to be close, however. But we'll find out. This may be the longest stretch we have. Who knows? We'll know in 0.68 miles. So just trying to get ourselves there with a nice clean run, show our professionalism to the executive that's traveling with us. We take our engineering responsibilities seriously, and that we do our best to maintain safe operations on the Alaska line. All right. Well, I'm not seeing anything, but who knows? Girdwood could be a parking pad. Who knows how big any of these places are. I'm surprised Wayne has been pretty quiet lately. He was giving us a lot of information. Maybe the executive fell asleep. I don't know. Kind of rock yourself to sleep on the rhythm of the rails. Couldn't blame him. You know, the scenery is a bit repetitive too, so he may dozed off, and maybe Wayne's just being respectful. Why does that? Oh, I'm like, it looks like a train's moving along. Alright, the water to the right is Turnagain Arm, a branch of the Cook Inlet. Its name is derived from Cook's final voyage to find the Northwest Passage. His crew's disappointment is reflected in its original spelling as Turn Again. The rugged mountains surrounding the arm rise to altitudes of 5,000 to 6,000 feet. Alright, so these are not foothills. So shame on me, but Girdwood Station, less than a mile. Whoop. Was worried. Oh wait, no, 8 miles. What am I talking about? That 8 looked like a 0. I do have my glasses, I promise. I'm not driving without my glasses. None of you get worried. I know I'm the mature simmer and all, but I do have my readers on so that I can see things. It's just that's a really small number on the screen. I'm guessing with YouTube pixelation, you probably can't read it at all. So there. But, because yeah, the thing that got me to take a second look at it is I'm like, wait a minute, the ETA is 8:06. Like, we're not going a mile in 20 minutes or 25 minutes, so. But, yeah, this will be a little bit of a run still. But yeah, it's basically 22, 23 more minutes. So settle in. We've got some power lines. I haven't seen a power pole. It's not really a pole. It's kind of short, high high tension wire tower is what I'd call it. I'm used to much bigger ones here in the Midwest. But here, I'm guessing the snow, the lack of people, you probably don't need as many power lines as we have in the more populated areas of the country, so you can get by with things. I'm sure it gets windy here too, especially off the inlet, things like that. It's just a lot of reasons to keep the structures low and squat to the ground. Maybe avoid any kind of damage and so forth. So alright, I am trying to keep us moving along as much as I can, maximizing my speed, but trying to be careful and not do anything that gets me in trouble. A little bit of a road going up the side of the mountain there, it looks like. Wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if we're still in the state park, but could be loggers, could be anything. So I'm wondering, since we're at turn again, if that means the inlet is going to be ending, and then we'll be either just going with the river, but if we're now going to start kind of heading into the interior. Didn't mean to hit that. I was just trying to see what I can see, but it doesn't really give me terrain on that map. Just shows me black squares, so that doesn't really help much. But it looks like we got another siding here for passing. Nobody's waiting for us there. We've not been told to wait for anyone here. So we're just gonna keep moving along. I don't think it's very long. I'm sure it's just like the other ones that we've passed through. Oh, looks like this might be where they have some gates that close the road. I think that's what's sticking up in the trees, and it looked like there was one on the opposite side. So we may in fact be starting to head away, because at this point it does look like we're going to go to the left with a mountain in front of us, and a little bit of a snow-capped one at that. So it's cold up there. Not that it's not cold in Alaska in general, so the starting temperature just kind of puts you in that spot that doesn't take much to let that snow stick around. But we don't know what time of year we're going through and doing this. I am happy that we've been blessed with sunshine, though. That's definitely a nicer day to be driving than doing that on a really rainy, stormy day. Alright, getting close to 6.5 miles here, but we may never go faster than 30 now. I'm a little confused. Is that water again? It is. Alright. So maybe we didn't leave the inlet at all, we just couldn't see it quite as clearly for a bit. Might have been a little spit of land or something that stuck out to the right and that we avoided, because there's no point in running rails down along the shore to then have to come back here. So maybe that's what we were running into. Again, a little bit of a grade, 0.1%. Nothing significant, certainly. Ah, the road is going to go over. But the tracks are in good shape. Not a whole lot of bouncing around. Not a lot of unsafe driving or anything like that. So yeah, speaking of safe driving, we did have, recording this just, I don't know, a few weeks away from pretty bad toxic train derailment. I might not pronounce this right or say it right, because the spelling makes me want to say it a certain way, but I think it's East Palestine, Ohio, is the way they say it. And the ironic part, if you want to call it that, is I guess they filmed the film White Noise over there in the town, and lots of people in it were extras, and it was basically about something like this, where there was a toxic train derailment and it wasn't really safe to return to the town and so forth. So they are telling residents it is safe, but residents are a little bit leery, as you might expect. I saw last couple days there's a lot of dead fish showing up and so forth, but the government is telling them the fish are struggling, but there's no danger to you or your pets or other animals. But I could certainly understand being a little nervous, because it was some crazy stuff that was burning. It was a lot of cars. It was a lot of product. Oh, gotta pay attention here. Gotta slow down to 25 again in a bit. So just kind of, again, let this bleed off a bit. Maybe we'll speed up for a bit. Half a mile, over half a mile is a long way at 25 miles an hour, so we'll take it up a bit and then we'll slow it down if we need to, but my guess is we'll have plenty of options. But yeah, so it's a perfect example of unsafe train driving can have dire consequences. Now, I don't know that they've determined what the issue was, if it was, engineer related, if it was a malfunction of equipment, train tracks. They haven't really said. I think they said something about the NTSB getting some kind of a faulty bearing off one of the cars, but they were also having difficulty just getting in and doing their investigation because of the heat and so forth that was going on with the fire, obviously, and obviously the danger of the toxic chemicals. So who knows when we're really going to know what they determine is the likely situation, and is there any ongoing danger? Do changes need to be made to operating procedures through there or what? But I also had heard something that that particular train had some problems further up the line too, so it's unfortunate. If this could have been avoided with some easy things, I think there's going to be some lawsuits that would come out in that case, if that really is what's determined. But right now, I think everyone's just trying to figure out if they even want to go back home, but that's not a very well-to-do area that I'm aware of. So I don't know that folks have a whole lot of other options to pick up and move, for example. I don't really think that's in the cards for most folks. Nor might they want to. They might really enjoy that area. Alright, so that was the little bit of 25. At this point, I certainly can speed up again. So we were at 804 at one point. We're down to under that, even though we had slowed down, so this is working out pretty well. Alright, 4 miles to go. And that is it at Girdwood Station. I assume we're pulling into the station so that our passenger can more easily get off. He might not want to jump in and out up the ladders. Although, again, out of the engines, he doesn't really have a choice, so I don't know what I'm thinking. But it still might be easier than walking along the roadbed and in the gravel and stuff in the yard. He might be wearing nice shoes or something. Don't know. frankly don't care. I'm just doing my job. They make me move the train, I'm moving the train, and I'm loving doing it. Just a beautiful place. I mean, driving a train anywhere is a treat, but driving a train here, very much a treat. But we'll see if we get to go 30 the whole rest of the way. I know the road crossed over us at one point, but I suddenly was like, cars are on the other side. What's going on? But then I remembered it did cross over the top of us quite a whiles back. I'm not sure if it was before we got into this last 8-mile stretch, but it's been a while. How about that? So, depending on if you were paying attention to the main menu when we were starting this, there's 3 other scenarios that go along with this, which I will certainly do at some point. Looks like the rest are all more challenging, but you know, that would, I assume, then take the length of the line from start to finish, but it's taken, you know, 4 scenarios to do that, so not a short line, which is always great. I mean, I do like the fact that the content per pack, these aren't like 10-mile runs that you get through pretty quickly. Now, some of the city ones are certainly shorter, but you're doing, you know, a lot of commuter stops and things like that. If you haven't seen any of the other train simulator content on the channel, there's definitely plenty of episodes out there, as you can see from the numbering. I'm not even sure which episode number this will be. I'll worry about that when I'm editing. But I'm thinking we're over 50. Should make sense because I did do a Marias Pass scenario off the workshop that was had over 30 different scenarios in the pack, so that obviously creates over 30 episodes right there just to get through those. So alright, getting close enough I can feel it. 8 a.m. It'll be good time for breakfast. I hope there's somewhere nice to eat in Girdwood. Stop off and get myself a little ham and eggs or something. Not sure. Pretty much open to anything. They gotta have some great food up here, right? Hardy folk need hearty food. So yeah, if anybody ends up watching this that's from this area, I'd certainly love to hear your thoughts on, did they do a good job of representing it? Does it at least give the feel of the location? I'm sure it's, you know, not an exact replica and so forth, and you know, I'm sure there's a lot of repetitiveness here that may not exist in the real thing, but maybe there is. Maybe it looks very much like this. I mean, once again, pine trees are kind of repetitive, so just a matter of how they represented everything. Alright, just gotta not lose focus in this last little bit. Don't make any errors in the last 4 or 5 minutes here. That would be a shame. Goal is to finish perfectly. That's always the goal of every engineer when they get in the train, right? I would hope so, when you've got so many tons under your control, that you'd want to take it pretty seriously and be really careful with what you're doing. Alright, less than 1.5 miles. I'm sure we probably still cannot see where we're ending. Maybe at the tops of the mountains we're kind of seeing what's a mile and a half away and kind of about where we'd be, but maybe not. We're turning to the left here. It might be beyond this mountain that's on the left of us, and we might not really be able to see. But the line may continue down between those going forward. This road does head off to the right there. Again, I need to not get too distracted watching all the other things instead of my speed, and then suddenly going too quickly. I see a signal at 0.8 miles away, so we're going to have like a quarter mile to go beyond that. I would think I would see the Girdwood station already. I don't understand. Is there like nothing? Because I'm like, it is 0.87. Like, I am seeing that, but yeah, it's like not on that map down below, so I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully I won't like lose points because I'm gonna stop in the wrong place or something. I don't know. Because yeah, I don't think, yeah, there's nothing else. Well, there is stop at Girdwood Station. It's just not showing up on here for some reason. Alright. I feel a little better. At least it's somewhere. But half a mile away. No point going too fast. But yeah, because we're not on kind of a commuter schedule, I'm thinking it's a little bit more forgiving that as long as you're not speeding. That's kind of what determines if you make the scenario the full score or not. Because yeah, what we don't have is like a target zone to stop. That's what I'd expect, so I'm going to have to kind of pay attention to the miles and you know, do what we need there. Now, there's nothing that tells me I need to slow down, but I'm going to go down to 15 or so just in case. Alright. Yeah, this literally is like a nothing. That is crazy. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Sorry. But yeah, we're like kind of here somewhere. I mean, I'm gonna keep an eye on that 0.20 miles, I guess. Oh, wait, is that... No, I'm confused because now it's not changing. So maybe I need to stop here. So let me do that before I go too far, and we'll see what happens. No, not yet. It's telling me I got another minute, so I guess I'll go ahead. I don't understand. Yeah, Girdwood Station. Did I need to like switch my switch? Oh, I did. Well, darn. Okay. Well, then let's do this. He's gonna reverse. So there's a little bit that we need to do here. Of course, now this may give me some bad news here. Maybe I'll lose points now. I hope not. Alright, so back some. I can go quicker here. So there's no point in going slowly. But yeah, I'm thinking I need to stop at Girdwood Station on the other part of the line. So let's see. There we go. Alright, so we'll start slowing down here. There we go. So now I want to do that. That should get me to Girdwood Station. And maybe that will now give me... There we go, look at that. Oh, let's not get in trouble for going to... Oh, and now we do need to go 15. There's a little bit of trick there. Again, hopefully it won't give me, hey, you took too long. But yeah, when it stopped, like, giving me any distance, I'm like, something's off. Like, this is not right. But that's what I was expecting, like what I see down there on the map is a station. And I'm like, I'm not seeing a station, I don't understand. So they're a little tricky there at the end, not telling me that... Alright, but at this point, I should be able to stop anywhere along here. And I should be good. So, sorry about that, Mr. Executive. A little bit of confusion. But that should get me done here. Probably added a minute or two to the scenario that we didn't need. But it's good to have a little bit of a challenge and thinking of what's going on. Let's see what they have to say. Alright, we'll be holding here for a while. The crew generally walks over to the diner on the highway. Care for any coffee? There we go. I knew there was a place to eat. Close this window to complete this part of the scenario. The journey to Seward continues in part 2. There we go. Final destination reached. Well, thanks for coming along. So here is our debrief screen. 1,000 points. Everything gained. No lines down below. I love it. It's great stuff. So, hope you enjoyed the journey. Hope you enjoyed tagging along. Again, I might normally be more chatty, but there just wasn't a lot to say. Hey, I've gone into level 28-29, the bar at the bottom. So, that's some progress. Thanks for tagging along, and I'll see you next time.